Welcome back to the REI Marketing Weekly. It's your host, Josh Culler with Culler Media and REI.video. And in today's episode, it is going to be a solo one. So it's just your boy, Josh Culler, here on the podcast today. I know normally we have a guest on the show, but one of the things that we're going to be changing on the REI Marketing Weekly is we're going to have a solo episode once a month with just me. And then the rest of them are still have some awesome guests that come on the show. So we're still going to keep that format. I just wanted to make sure we squeezed in one episode where it's just me. I feel like there's a lot of things that we talk about on the REI Marketing Weekly when it comes to the marketing that you're doing in your business. But I also want to make sure that I'm hitting on things specifically that, maybe I talk about or I implement for people in their business or, create marketing plans around for their businesses and I'll do all the stuff that I do and my company and my services do from a marketing perspective for active real estate investors. And so I want to share some of those things. And the first thing that we're going to talk about on this solo episode with Josh Culler is video marketing. If you follow me on any platform, if you listen to anything that I talk about, obviously video is a really big piece of what we do in our core businesses and our services. And it's something that I preach all the freaking time. So hopefully I've not beat it into your brain too crazily, because today we're going to be talking about only video marketing. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the show. If you haven't already, make sure you go pick up the REI Marketing Book. REIMarketingBook.com is where you can go get that. We literally have about 37 active real estate investors that have shared the things that they do in their business when it comes to a marketing perspective, anything from acquisitions marketing to building cash buyers lists to dispo marketing, anything you could think of inside the world of marketing, hundreds of techniques, tips, and strategies that these guys talk about. Incredible book. So make sure you go pick that up, reimarketingbook.com. Let's go ahead and get into the topics for today, video content. First of all, I'm going to talk about why video content, and then we're going to get into kind of the techniques and strategies that I would advise you to do in your business. Now, you might be thinking, sitting there thinking like, Josh, I market to motivated sellers. Why would I do video marketing? Is it even relevant for me? Is this something I should even do? And the answer is yes. Video marketing is relevant for any business. It doesn't matter what business you operate in. You can always use video marketing for even transactional type businesses that you're in, like wholesaling. But it should be a very massive part of your marketing that you put out, because it's so multi-dimensional when it comes down to it. You could use it for ads. You could use it for web type content. You could use it for organic social media posts, stuff like that. So I'm going to first talk about why video marketing, and then I'm going to go deep into some of the things that I would advise you on when it comes to video. We're going to spend 15, 20 minutes on this topic. So make sure you take some notes. If you're listening while you're driving, don't take notes. Just make sure you go back to this episode later and take notes later. So why video marketing? Well, if you've been living under a rock, then you would not know that video marketing has become a massive part of the entire landscape of the world and the internet and everything that we consume as a consumer standpoint. Now, when I say video marketing, most people relate that directly to social media. Guys, I want to make sure that you understand it's not just social media. It does include websites. It does include your Google My Business listing. It does include TV advertising. It's everything that has to do with video. So open up your mind a little bit. Don't just think, hey, I don't want to post videos directed towards motivated sellers on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. Guys, you got to open up your mind a little bit and make sure that you are thinking in terms of how can I use this marketing tool to reach the goals I want to in order to close deals. The thing to understand about video marketing is it's not a quick fix. Like, you're not going to put a video out today on your website and all of a sudden you're going to get deals closed left and right. That's not how this works. A really big part of video marketing is that it builds credibility and authority and then relevance with your target demographic, which, let's keep it like, for instance, like I said, video marketing works for just about anything you do in your business. But for the sake of example, I know a lot of people that listen to the show are wholesalers, people that are marketing actively towards motivated sellers. So a lot of the examples I use are going to be directed towards that. So let's just take, for instance, if you have a seller that is needing an answer to a question that they have. They just went through, they're going through foreclosure. They just got the documents. They just got notification that it's happening. And they're thinking like, what do I do? So then they go to Google, they start typing in, what do I do with my pre-foreclosed house? your video pops up, your 5-minute video explains the process of working with you and how to be able to get out from underneath this pain point, and then they sell you the deal. This is where video marketing comes in, because a lot of times it's not what closes the deal, but it's the catalyst that creates that lead to come in. And so video marketing is a really big component when it comes to the authority and credibility that you're building, which in today's market, when everybody and their mother can wholesale deals, this is extremely important piece of the marketing that you should be focusing on. So I'm not going to go into like statistics and analytics and all this stuff, like how many videos are watched on a consistent basis. You could go to Google and see all of that data. I want to go deep into, let's just say, for instance, you do value video content, you need it. Now you need some direction. So we're going to go into it that way. So the first thing I would tell you is keep it simple. Keep it simple. Do not complicate or make the process complex. For instance, right now I'm videoing this. If you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching it, I'm videoing this podcast right now. And I have a camera set up and it's feeding through Zoom, right? So that's how I'm capturing the video and audio. I'm keeping it simple. I'm not in a studio. Now I know a lot of podcasters, they've got studios and whatnot. They want to, do it up really nice. And I'm not discrediting that at all. But for me, I know I don't have a full-time, podcast producer on my team. If I did, I would probably do a studio, but I don't. It's me doing it right now. So I need to keep it simple, because if I overcomplicate the process and I've got to turn on 4 different cameras and hit record here and manage a soundboard there, I'm not going to keep up with it. I'm not going to continue to do it. So keep it simple. In the world in which we live today, especially the demographic that most of you are going after with motivated sellers, the 50+ range, and Mary that couldn't care less if you're Steven Spielberg or if you're Christopher Nolan. I'm trying to think of some producers, but if you're Christopher Nolan trying to create a Hollywood produced film, listen, that's not today's day and age. You could film a nice video that gets good, clean audio on your cell phone and then get that out there to the masses in order to, market it with your video. So keep it simple. What I would say is film with either through Zoom or with your cell phone. Your cell phone is I would tell you your cell phone is by far your most powerful content marketing tool you could ever own, because of how simple and easy it is. So use your cell phone. The microphone on your cell phone is meant to pick up your voice and eliminate any ambient sound. I don't want to go too technical and deep into this, but the bottom line is keep it simple. Next thing is topics. This is a really big hurdle. So a lot of these things I'm going to talk about are hurdles or speed bumps that people put on the road and say, I don't do video content for this reason. Number one reason I hear is they don't know what to talk about. Topics is a really hard one to get past, and for most people. Now, for me, if I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you, it's super easy. And the simple fix is that if you are an active real estate investor, here's what I want you to do: is to email me, josh@cullermedia.com. Culler spelled Culler, or direct message me on Instagram at the Content Ninja, and just say, I want your list of 52 topics for real estate investors. So short story, I have a list of about 52 topics that active real estate investors can do video topics on when it comes to your business, your real estate business. And so I have that list. I'll give it to you. It's a PDF. I'll just give it to you, and then you can shoot videos on that. So reach out to me and ask me for that list. But that's the short and simple fix. And 52 topics is more than enough for you to be able to have comprehensive and very critical content for you. But if you're wanting to look beyond that, a really good thing to think about is, what questions do your sellers ask? So the simple thing that you need to understand about content marketing as a whole is the very simple definition for it is answering the questions that your target demographic or target customer has about your services, product, or your industry. That's literally all it boils down to. So you're getting this data collected. And what I would advise you to do is, if you have salespeople on your team, people that are acquisitions agents or lead managers, every single time somebody on the other side of the phone asks a question, make them log that down. And then that's a topic that you could shoot a video on, because that's hard factual data that people are asking and they don't know the answer to. And so if somebody's on the phone and say they ask, what does your closing process look like? How fast can you close? Well, now you could shoot a video and say, we can close in as little as 7 days, but if you need more time, we can do that as well. So if you need 60 days, 90 days, we can close in your time frame, and here's how that process works. And shoot a video on that and then get that on your website. Now, instead of trying to type out a full answer, having your lead manager type out this massive answer, you could literally just send them of this video and say, hey, here's a video that we recorded for you. Hopefully this answers your question. And that's one of the easiest ways to do it. So anytime a seller asks a question, write it down, shoot a video on it. So that's topics. I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. That's an easy one to do. So you have no excuses. You have 52 topics now that you can shoot videos on if you're an active real estate investor. And if you're not an active real estate investor, if you need topics for dispo or whatever it is, if you're a turnkey provider, I got those too. So hit me up and I'll hook you up. So that's topics. Now, the next thing is make sure that you're relatable and relevant to their pain points. So make sure you address the pain points that they have. So if they're a tired landlord, make sure you address, are you tired of waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to fix toilets because a tenant, one of their kids put a tennis ball down the toilet, right? That's some of the things that you need to address inside these videos. The more relevant you can be, the more relatable that you can be to their pain point and what they're going through, show that empathy, show the sympathy, then the more likely you are to have that video content actually work for you as opposed to against you, right? So make sure you're relevant, make sure you're relatable. Keep it in mind of when you're writing down these questions that people are asking to create topics for, keep in mind how they're asking it. Why are they asking it? Think about it that way, because when you're doing the videos, you actually want to put yourself in their shoes so that you're not talking to them, you're talking with them. That's a key thing. So the next thing is, I would say, I had this conversation with a guy at a mastermind I was at last week, and he's from Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh, if you're not familiar with the area, I've only been there once. You can very, very quickly identify if somebody is not from Pittsburgh, especially if you've lived there for your entire life. You're married, that's like 60 years old, you live in the burg, and you've been there for your entire life. You know every street corner, every street name, and you know where all the hot restaurants are and all that stuff. You know where Billy lives, you know, he's 4 blocks away or whatever. And you're the type of person that gives instructions without, like, you say like, hey, go left at the light here, and then you turn on, you know, Agrabah Street, and then you do like, that's the demographic there. So the more specific to the geographical demographic that you can be, the better it's going to be. So I tell people all the time, when you're doing videos, be in the environment that you're talking about. So if you are a real estate investor in Pittsburgh, I would very much highly recommend you going to a very, you know, go to the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium. I think it's Heinz Field. Is that what it's called? Go to the stadium, stand in front of the stadium and say, hey, I'm a local Pittsburgh real estate investor and I want to buy your house, you know, blah, blah, blah. Plug in the message, but be as relevant with the geographical location as you possibly can be. If you're in Chicago, like, it's very hard. It's very easy to spot somebody that's not from Chicago, you know, that kind of thing. Make sure you're relevant to the geographical location. Film in the locations in which you're talking about. So if you're talking about, you know, you buy single family houses, 3-1s or whatever, a good idea would be, if you have a 3-1 under contract, go to the house and film the video in front of the house. The type of houses that you would acquire, film a video in front of that. Or if your buddy has one or whatever, you're flipping it, or, you know, just be in the environment. Geographical locations are very key when it comes to video. Now, I don't want that to stop you. If you think, I can't make it out to this location in Pittsburgh, or I can't make it out to a house or whatever, don't let that stop you. Film them in your office and just make sure you're being relevant, and the things that you're saying are relevant to the locations that you're in. So if there's a specific term, like, you know, in Chicago, we say da bears, or, you know, something like that, or, you know, I don't know what else we say. I'm trying to think of some Chicagoan slang, but I'm sure there's a lot of it out there. But anyway, so like, just reference stuff like that, and it breaks the ice for the person that's on the other side of the video watching it, and allows you to be a lot more relatable to them. So make that happen. The next thing is placing the videos. Where do you put these out at? And the simple answer is, the primary platforms that you're going to put out on is YouTube. And the reason you put on YouTube is not so that you can grow a subscriber base. It's not the reason. It's so that you can embed that YouTube video onto your website. YouTube is owned by the largest search engine on the planet. YouTube is owned by Google. And so that helps significantly when it comes to SEO and search rankings. So place that video on YouTube, embed it on your website. I can kind of walk you through that later on if you need to. So give me a shout if you need it. But YouTube is a one. Put it on your Facebook page. Facebook is not going to generate a lot of organic traffic, but people will visit your Facebook page to see if you're credible. Put that video on there. Google My Business, massive one. You might have to do a little bit of reformatting when it comes to the Google My Business listings, but you can put videos on Google My Business. So I highly recommend that. And then obviously your website's a really big one. The thing I want to make sure you understand is ignore the vanity metrics. Don't worry about how many views you're getting. Don't worry about how many likes you're getting, comments, stuff like that, engagement. None of that matters, guys. You're not a real estate influencer. You are a wholesaler. You are somebody that's trying to get deals. If it gets 10 views and you close one deal out of the video, it worked. If it got 100,000 views and no deals, it was not a successful video. So keep that in mind. I want to make sure you understand that. And then the next thing is types of videos. So when you're coming down to types of videos, what do? Like, do I set up a camera? Do I have somebody, one of my acquisitions agents walk through the property with me? The simple thing is keep it simple. Again, I would say selfie videos are probably the easiest and best way to do it. You can obviously get like a selfie stick so that you can get the camera out of your face and get a wider field of view, all that good stuff. So just, again, keep it simple, but selfie videos are probably the number one place I would start. Property walkthroughs are always a really good place to go. When it comes down to it, property walkthroughs, like literally approach it from a standpoint of you're walking through the property, talking about the deal, talk about the numbers as best you can. Talk about what you're going to do after you're finished renovating, or if you're wholesaling it, talk about the numbers when it comes down to like how you got the deal, what the numbers look like, what the exit strategies could be, all that stuff. Just talk about the property. You're walking through it, kind of showcasing it. Testimonials are obviously a really big form of video marketing. So you've got a seller at the table, do a video with them. Case studies are huge. So if you say, for instance, you got a meaty deal, you're listening to this episode and you're like, man, I did a deal like 2 months ago. That would be perfect for a testimonial. Open up your camera, film a quick video talking about the deal. So, hey, Mary on 123 Main Street, she had this issue with her foundation. We were able to pick this up and wholesale the deal for her, get her out from underneath that. The people that we wholesaled it to, they're fix and flippers. They were able to fix the foundation and blah, blah, blah. So give a case study on that. So obviously use discretion. Don't use full names if they don't want you to, or addresses, be careful with that stuff. But case studies are a really good way to get video content out as well. Now we're wrapping it up. We got a short amount of time. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about here, guys. But and if you go subscribe to me on YouTube at The Content Ninja, I do talk about video marketing a lot and go specifically deep diving into video topics. And so like some of these things that I broke down, I had a short summary them, like testimonials. I did a full video on how to shoot good testimonials. Go check that out. So the next thing, I got two quick things here. So the next thing is just making sure that the videos that you put on your website, the key here is, putting them on YouTube, make sure you fill in the metadata. So the metadata would be tags, give a good description, almost like a show notes type description. Make it keyword, key phrase, rich, heavy. Focus on the title. Make sure the title is very articulate, very specific to the point. And then also some of the, end cards, screens, stuff like that. There's some other things that are really big when it comes to YouTube. I would even make sure that you have auto captions on. There's a little option there that you can turn on English auto captions. And then that helps a lot with the transcription, because YouTube will actually scrape that in searches. So that's a really big key when it comes to opening up videos on YouTube and then placing those on your website. Last thing here is just, guys, wrapping it up, continue to put out. Do not stop video marketing just because it's not generating a lot of views, a lot of comments, a lot of likes. Again, ignore those vanity metrics. The key here is that the video content can really build up your credibility, authority, and your relevance with your sellers, with your buyers, whatever you're marketing towards. And slow and steady wins the race here, guys. I've seen so many people put out really good video content and then they stop. And then you go to their Facebook page or their Google My Business listing and they haven't posted a video in a year and a half. Well, now you've automatically devalued your credibility. So just make sure you're keeping that in mind. Keep putting video content out, guys. Even if it's just one video a week, that is more than enough for you to be able to get good content out there. Again, like I wouldn't even recommend that you have to post one video a day, because you're not building a following. You're not building a subscriber base. You're trying to get transactional deals. But the key here is to build your credibility and authority. And if you're consistently putting out 2 a week, 1 a week, something like that, as long as it's consistent, then it's going to help you in the long run. So hopefully that brought you guys some value. I know I opened up a lot of different topics here. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, josh@cullermedia.com, or follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And then also on YouTube. All three of those are at The Content Ninja. connect with me there and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. That's going to do it for today's episode, guys. I'm out of breath. I'm exhausted. A lot of stuff that came out of my mouth, but hopefully that brought you value. Make sure you do subscribe to the show if you haven't already. If you're on Apple Podcasts, now is the time to head over to the homepage, leave me a 5-star review with your feedback. I would much appreciate that. And then make sure you do order the REI marketing book. reimarketingbook.com is where you can go get that. It is going to be hot off the press very soon. So I'm pumped about that. It will be coming out and in the hands of you and everybody else very soon. So make sure you go check that out. Thank you guys for listening, and I will catch you on the next one. See you later.